Welcome back to the CryptoLabs YouTube channel. Walking in the Canadian wilderness in the pouring rain. It's freezing right now for the last hour, 2 hours, contemplating and thinking a question that I've literally been thinking about since I was 11, 12, 13. I know that sounds weird. I'll explain my story. What is the difference between someone who is rich and someone who is poor? Someone who has stuff and someone who doesn't. Someone who has fulfillment and time and freedom and financial success and someone who doesn't, which is most people. Lucas, that's weird for an 11 or 12-year-old to be thinking about that, and I would agree, but I had an interesting upbringing. We were refugees from Poland in Italy. I was born there, and then we were immigrants into Canada. And so my parents didn't have much. They didn't speak the language, and I think I was grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 or so, and they had an idea of like, hey, we want to bring him to a better school, a private school. Because in Poland, I think it was different, like it was smaller classrooms, but they couldn't afford it. So my mom drove buses for the school, and my dad would fix the engines on the buses, so do maintenance on the buses, and that's how they were able to get me into the school. That created an interesting dynamic for me because when I went over to friends' houses, we lived in a trailer park. If they had a house that had a basement and like a pool and like more than one bathroom, I was like, these people are rich. I was like, my mind was blown. Looking back, they were probably upper middle class people, but to me, it was like they were freaking millionaires. They were like Hollywood. And that got me thinking of like, why do some people have stuff? Why do some people have not? Now, also, there was a little bullying and I felt different and all those dynamics that people go through. Look at that. How beautiful is that? And it got me thinking a lot about it. And then when I finished high school, I didn't go to college, university. I said, who will pay me the most? Because the secret must be making more money. That's what I thought. Big mistake. Went on the oil rigs for 5 years, made almost pretty much 6 figures on average per year for 5 years, and was still as broke as I was when I was 19. I learned that making more money doesn't make you wealthy, doesn't make you rich, doesn't equal success. After that, I got into entrepreneurship for the next 5 years. I lived like I was broke and ate ramen noodles and lived in a basement suite with a family on top of me. And I rode my pedal bike to the grocery store. Started a business, finally it took off, did well, made a ton of money, more money than I ever made on the rigs. I still wasn't doing that well. And then I started studying money, started studying the psychology of money, how money is psychological, the emotions around money, my beliefs around money, my relationship around money. Gay Hendricks has a great book called The Upper Limit Problem, or Your Upper Limit, has something called the Financial Thermostat. My financial thermostat was still set at the same setting when I was 19, so no matter how much money I made, nothing really happened, and I've realized that it came down to one thing, and one thing only. Our relationship with money. That's when things started changing for me, is when I understood that I was still operating like a poor person, even though I had money and I was saving it. And money, if it's not moving, is worthless. It does nothing for us. It is a false sense of security, digits in a bank account. I know this to be true because there was a point where I started saving money. I had a lot of money in the bank. Yet I was terrified to spend it, to invest it in me, to invest it in general. But if the money is not moving, it's not doing anything for me. And when I started realizing that, and I started taking small steps to deploy capital so it brings me more dollars back. And it was a fear, an emotional and psychological fear I had to overcome. But I want to deploy capital so it makes me more back. I want my money working for me. The more I did that, the more of my time I got back. Because now money was making me money, and you can start small. That's why I love crypto and DeFi. You can literally start so small. And as I got my time back, I was able to not work as much, and I was able to invest that time back into me, starting going to seminars and masterminds and workshops and reading more and studying. My skill set when it came to money investing was increasing. And because my skill set was increasing, I was able to devote more time into investing and make better returns and better yields and take it more seriously. And that got me better results. And the flywheel effect started. And guess what? I got my time back. And when I got my time back, I was able to actually start working, because I do believe we're built to work, not sit on a beach, working on things that actually fulfill me, that are actually making a difference, that I actually wanted to wake up to and do. regardless of if they made money or not. And the byproduct of that is usually they make money. And I see so many people who know, they know what I just said, or they join the UIG and they're like, oh, I know this. Like, you don't know it. You may know it, but you don't know it. There's still a block. There's still a block to actually doing it. And that's where I think mindset is 90% of this whole game. And a lot of people are still stuck. They have the access to the information. They know what to do, yet they don't do it because emotionally they're still stuck, even if you have money. They're still stuck in a very poor mindset. Save, put it under the mattress, keep it safe. And they feel like the more digits in their bank account are going to make them feel safer. And it never does. It just gets us more stuck. And so when that clicked for me, when I started getting around wealthy, because I was buying my time back and I was able to join masterminds, and when I started looking at wealthy people, I'm like, what do you have in a bank account? They had very little. On paper, they were not worth much. But they had time. And they had cash flow. Their money was making them money. And it was usually under different entities and holding companies. And, they really on paper didn't earn much, which is why they pay so little tax. And when I understood that, I was like, okay, Lucas, you don't need a ton in the bank account. Deploy the capital. Get obsessed with deploying the capital and find more pleasure in deploying capital and making your money make you money than looking at digits in a bank account. And it took a while. You got to start small. It took a while. But eventually you overcome that fear and you realize it's not risky to invest. It's more risky to save money, be dependent on one source of income. That's more risky to me. Waiting for retirement, hoping the government takes care of you, that's more risky. I hope this served. I hope that this helped. If you're sitting there and you're saying, I already know this, but you're not financially free, you don't know it. That's just the truth. How about we start applying little pieces at a time, keep leaning in, and applying what we know, and eventually you'll look around someday and you'll be like, hey, I got my time back. What do I want to invest my time into now? That to me is success. And it brings more fulfillment. They're like, well, money doesn't buy you happiness. It's absolutely true if you're still in a poor mindset. But if you're in a wealthy mindset, if you're in a rich person mindset and you're making money, then it does buy you happiness because it buys you your time back. And that extra time, if invested properly, increases your fulfillment, happiness, time spent on things that actually matter to you. Maybe you're going to launch some projects or some businesses that actually mean something to you. You're not even desperate for the cash when you launch them because you're enjoying the process. It absolutely buys you happiness if invested properly. Okay, I'm out of here because I'm freezing. My walks are over. Appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed this little walk and stroll with me on this Sunday morning. And with that said, I'll leave some videos up here and here and here and here. Do check them out. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. DeFi, it makes it accessible to anyone and anyone can become an investor. And if done well, it yields results that are better than any investment I had access to when I first started getting into investing. Plus, it took a lot of capital to get into it. DeFi does not. So to me, this is the greatest opportunity. If you're into that, do check out some of these videos. With that said, I'm out of here. Peace.